Manifest miraculous blessings each morning, a 40-day sacred prayer for divine transformation. In the heart of Hawthorne, a quaint village that seemed plucked from a storybook, the dawn broke with a shimmering golden light, casting a divine radiance over the blooming hills. Grandmother Martha stood at the ancient chapel's door, an ethereal figure. Her white hair framed a face full of grace and warmth, a living testament to faith that had borne her through many storms. Today, however, the burden weighed heavily on her heart, the frailty of her own health and the grave illness of her only son, David. Yet, she felt the urgency of a divine call. Could prayer, truly, be the anchor for her family in these turbulent times? "Gather round," she called, her voice steady despite the fluttering of anxious thoughts. One by one, her family appeared from the neighboring homes, their faces a mix of concern and love. She cherished this moment. It felt electric, as if the air was charged with sacred intention. We embark on a holy journey, a 40-day prayer for divine transformation. As they knelt in the chapel amidst flickering candles, Martha invited them to share their hopes, their fears, and their intentions. Each voice formed a sacred tapestry that enveloped the room. Her granddaughter, Lily, wept softly as she spoke of her wish for her father's health. David's daughter, Emily, timidly shared her dream of seeing her dad healed. Martha led them in prayer, her voice both powerful and soothing, reverberating like a hymn on the wind. Each amen echoed, resonating deep within their hearts and sparking moments of grace that seemed almost palpable. At first, the transformation was beautiful. Each morning unveiled little miracles, a flower blooming in the chapel that Martha had poured her own love into, or the unexpected generosity of neighbors, offering meals and warm blankets. The community watched as the family's faith illuminated their lives, even amid murmurs of doubt from some who simply couldn't understand the seriousness of their journey. It was surreal, uplifting. Yet the shadows crept in. As day by day passed, David's condition worsened. Doubts hounded Martha's heart with relentless whispers. What if this prayer is in vain? Nights grew darker, and the weight felt insurmountable. Martha found solace in her son's laughter, recalling childhood stories that brought her joy, but those memories were tinged with fear. She had rallied them together, but were they really being heard? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. And then, just when despair threatened to sink them entirely, a wave of compassion washed over the village. Neighbors began to bring flowers, cards, and warm meals. The community gathered, concerned eyes brimming with love. In that moment of unity, the sacred space within the chapel transformed. The flickering candles seemed to dance, and Martha had a vision, a soft whisper gliding through the air, a promise that prayers did not go unheard. She gasped, warmth enveloping her like a divine embrace. As they all knelt together once more, the air thick with anticipation, Martha felt emboldened. She raised her voice in prayer, trembling but resolute, drawing her family close. Would their hearts surrender to faith once more? Could a single prayer reach the heavens in pursuit of a miracle? As the candles flickered, they all felt it, the hope, the love, a sign that something extraordinary was unfolding. Yet, just beyond that precious moment, uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud, teasing fate and whispering questions. Would they find their miracle, or would despair once again cloud the light of hope? The very next morning arrived wrapped in a soft mist, as if the heavens themselves were cloaked in anticipation. Martha stepped outside, allowing her senses to drink in the freshness of the dawn. The world seemed alive, vibrant with potential. Was it her imagination, or did the birds chirp with extra fervor, heralding hope? She smiled gently, remembering the previous day's prayer, powerful and full of intention. Gathering her family once more that morning felt essential. Martha, with her heart still cradling the warmth of divine whispers, invited them to the chapel. There was an electricity in the air, a certainty that something extraordinary was conceived just beyond their grasp. Each family member wore their heart on their sleeves, bearing their hopes and fears like flowers blooming in the sunlight. Today, she began, let us share one thing we are thankful for, one miracle we see unfolding in our lives, no matter how small. Lily spoke first, her eyes glistening. I am thankful for the meals the neighbors are bringing us. It's like they are wrapping us in love when we can't stand on our own. Emily nodded, adding, and for each time I see Dad smile. It feels like a treasure. With every grateful word spoken, Martha felt another layer of heaviness lift, though remnants of doubt still lingered in the corners of her mind. They kneeled as one, their hearts woven together in the warmth of their love and faith. They prayed aloud, voices rising like incense, heavy with the yearning for healing, a miracle that danced just out of reach. Then came the unexpected. As the last amen faded, there was a stirring at the chapel door. A figure appeared, silhouetted against the morning light. Martha squinted to see. Her heart skipped a beat when she recognized him, Father Thomas, their beloved parish priest. He crossed the threshold, carrying an aura of calm much like a soothing balm. Martha, he greeted softly, I felt called to be here today. I sensed your family's prayers are like a beacon, drawing the grace of God closer. A murmur of joy rippled through the gathered family. Father Thomas' presence felt like a divine embrace, affirming their journey. He joined them in prayer, intertwining their cries for divine intervention with blessings. May healing flow to David, he intoned, his voice deep and resonant. May hope blossom in the hearts that fear. May love envelop every wounded corner. Tears flowed, a mixture of profound gratitude and profound longing. How beautiful it was to feel loved by a community and blessed by a leader who understood the weight of their burdens. But as Martha lifted her gaze to the heavens, she couldn't shake the shadows lurking at the edges of her spirit. The question clawed at her, the gray cloud of doubt returning. What if their prayers were still not enough? She drew a deep breath, pushing the fear aside. The day wore on, and after church, the family gathered again, sharing laughter, stories, and deepening their faith. It felt almost as if a miracle was brewing within them, but even in happiness, an undercurrent of fear trembled in Martha's heart. David needs us now more than ever, she whispered to herself, the weight of her son's illness pressing like an anchor. Would they come to discover that tangible miracle, or would they find only unanswered prayers lingering in the silence? As twilight descended and painted the chapel in hues of purple and gold, Martha resolved to dig deeper into her faith. She realized illuminating the path to healing meant embracing vulnerability. The acceptance of fear was part of their journey. With every candle flickering in the dim light, she began to fall into fervent prayer once more. Yet, as she lifted her heart in the stillness, a thought danced through her mind. What if there was more to this journey than mere healing? What if, in seeking the divine, they were destined to uncover something even greater? Drawn deep into her thoughts, Martha sensed the dawn of transformation approaching. The air crackled with promises of hope yet unseen. With her family around her, she surrendered not just her fears, but also her expectations. What awaited them through the nights ahead, as they journeyed deeper into this sacred prayer. As night enveloped the chapel, a hush settled over the quiet space. Martha lingered by the flickering candles, their soft glow illuminating her face like the grace of 1,000 blessings. Each flame danced like a tiny testimony, reminding her of every prayer whispered into the stillness. In the gentle embrace of darkness, her thoughts swirled. While her faith felt like a warm blanket, the chill of uncertainty crept in around the edges. How could she guide her family through this storm when her own heart wavered? She closed her eyes, seeking solace in the silence of prayer. Lord, grant us strength, she breathed, her voice a mere whisper among the candlelight. Help us believe in miracles, not just for David, But for all of us, it was then she felt the warmth of a hand on her shoulder. Turning gently, she met her daughter's eyes, still brimming with faith. "Mom, it's going to be okay, isn't it?" Lily asked, her innocent trust like a balm to Martha's soul. "Oh, sweet Lily," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "Sometimes we have to hold on to hope even when it feels far away, even when we can't see what is happening." Nodding, Lily took a seat beside her. "I believe God is listening, Mom. I can feel it." And in that moment, Martha understood the miracle wasn't just about David's healing. It was about their journey together, their faith entwined like vines growing stronger through the challenges faced. Around the chapel, Emily and her father joined the two, forming a small circle of love. Each family member found comfort in sharing snippets of their hearts. Emily spoke of a lady at school who seemed to have given up hope. "I told her that God loves her, and she smiled for the first time in months," she shared. David, though resting, had an energy that seemed to wrap around them, lifting their spirits. It was as though even in his stillness, he was speaking volumes, urging them to hold onto faith. Martha's heart swelled with pride and resolve. Yes, this family was a conduit for hope, a vessel for something divine. Emboldened by this revelation, Martha suggested, "Why don't we write down our fears and prayers and lay them at the foot of Jesus? Maybe it'll lighten our hearts." So they began. Each family member found a piece of paper and wrote down their burdens, their wishes, and the miracles they wanted to witness. As they shared what they had written, laughter mixed with tears. They saw clearly that burdens were not meant to be carried alone. In a shared expression of their deepest desires and greatest hopes, a warmth blossomed among them, as if even the walls of the chapel could feel the love enveloping them. With each shared prayer and promise, the air thickened with divine presence. Martha felt a flicker of anticipation. Something marvelous was brewing amidst their heartfelt exchanges. After laying their papers together as an offering, they raised their voices in song, the melody floating like a soft prayer into the night. The chapel was alive, echoing with the fervor of their faith. "Before we end tonight," Martha said, her heart full, "let us sing one last song, a song of gratitude for the love we share." As they sang with hope, joy spilled from their hearts, wrapping each note in the certainty of divine embrace. But as the final notes faded into the night, a sudden soft wind swept through the half-open chapel door, making the candles dance wildly. A shiver of awe surged through Martha. Was this a sign? What was the Lord trying to reveal? The air thick with expectancy, she sensed they were on the brink of something profound, something that reached beyond their current understanding. What would manifest in the days to come? Would it be healing, revelation, or something wholly unexpected? Only time would tell, and they were ready to walk that path of faith together as they prepared for sleep, hearts intertwined in prayer and hope. The questions lingered. When would they see that promised miracle? And would it transform their life in ways they had never dreamed? Morning light seeped through the chapel's small windows, casting gentle rays across the wooden pews. The air felt different that day, alive with possibility. Martha stirred awake with a sense of expectation thrumming beneath her skin. She quickly joined her family in the chapel, where they had all agreed to meet for morning prayer. The candles had been snuffed out, replaced by the vibrant light of dawn. As her husband, John, arranged the chairs, Emily and Lily giggled softly, the laughter of children weaving a beautiful melody that blended perfectly with the morning's fresh promise. Martha settled into her favorite chair, not far from where David rested, his breath steady, yet a question lingered in the air around him. Would his condition change today? She felt her heart surge with hope, stirring like the sunlight that broke through the clouds. "Good morning, sweet kids," she called, her voice filled with the warmth of the sun. "Let us start our day with a prayer." They gathered in a circle, a little huddle of love and warmth. Each face bore traces of sleep, but as they bowed their heads, it was as if the heaviness of the night had lifted. Martha began, "Dear Lord, thank you for this new day. We come to you, not with answers, but with faith. We lean on you, trusting that miracles come in unexpected forms. Help us to be open to what you have planned for us today. As she prayed, each family member silently offered their wishes to God, voices entwined in a sacred hush that felt thicker than air. It was a moment spun from hope, resonating in their hearts, just as the first light flooded the chapel. When the prayers ended, Ellen spoke eagerly. "Can we do something special today? I wish we could tell someone about what we believe to share the joy we feel right now." "Absolutely," Martha smiled, encouraged by her daughter's eagerness. "Let us think of ways to spread our hope to others. God's love is too great not to share." With a plan forming in their hearts, they spent the morning discussing their journey of faith, crafting little notes of encouragement to leave around town. Each note was adorned with simple expressions of love and hope, tools to touch hearts and transform lives. David, although not physically present with them, seemed to inspire their actions, spurring them on in a way they hadn't expected. Martha glanced at him and felt a divine stir. He was sheltered under their prayers. As the sun climbed higher, they ventured outside, armed with their notes and an eagerness that felt palpable. They placed messages on community benches, inside library books, and on cars parked near the chapel. Each note was a tiny seed, waiting to be planted in the soil of someone's heart. "Mom, do you think they'll feel what we feel?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Martha knelt beside her, taking her small hand in hers. "I believe they will. God's spirit can seep through words, through love, just like the morning sun warms our faces." But as they walked back toward the chapel, a small voice called out to them. Startled, they turned to see an elderly woman standing by a tree, her hands trembling slightly. Martha approached her, curiosity igniting within. "Excuse me, dear," the woman said, her voice weathered yet gentle. "I saw you placing those notes. What's the message you're sharing?" In that instant, they realized this was an opportunity for something greater, perhaps a divine connection waiting to unfold. Martha opened her mouth to reply, but before she could speak, she felt that familiar warm rush of the Holy Spirit enveloping her, filling her heart with a deep understanding. What would they say? Would this moment reveal more insight into the prayer for miracles they had laid down? As the woman's eyes searched theirs, Martha knew they were on the edge of something sacred, and the answer to their prayers was closer than they thought. Would they see a transformation unfolding, a new purpose rooted in their shared faith? The question lingered in the air, waiting to expand into something beautiful. Martha took a breath, feeling the weight of the moment heavy in the air. The sun spilled its light around them, as if inviting the conversation to blossom. "We're sharing notes of hope," she began, her voice steady despite the flutter in her heart. "Messages that are meant to uplift souls and remind them they are loved." The elderly woman's eyes sparkled with interest, though shadows of weariness lingered in the lines of her face. "Hope can shield us from despair," she replied, a small smile flickering to life. "But sometimes it feels nearly impossible to grasp. That's why we're here," came John's gentle tone, cutting through the stillness. "We might not hold the answers, but we believe in the power of community. Together, we can create a web of support." The woman straightened, the tremors in her hands stilled by a warmth that seemed to surge from the little family gathered before her. "It's beautiful," she offered softly, "to see young hearts desiring to heal the world." Martha could see the stories woven in the lines of the woman's face, a life filled with seasons of joy and sorrow, perhaps moments where hope felt lost. "Have you ever felt that hope, dear lady?" she asked gently, her heart reaching out to this precious soul. "Oh, many times," the woman chuckled, her voice a trembling melody. "But it's also true that hope can feel fragile. It needs nurturing like a delicate flower." "Exactly," Emily chimed in, her youthful enthusiasm infectious. "And our notes aim to do just that, to nurture those who may not feel hope right now." The woman's gaze softened, and she moved a step closer. "May I have one?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I would like to carry a piece of your light with me." As Martha handed the woman a carefully crafted note, something within her stirred, a divine connection was palpable. The note read, "You are loved. No matter the darkness you face, you are not alone." "Thank you," the woman breathed, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "It has been a while since I felt the embrace of kindness." Martha felt a surge of warmth wash over her, as if that very note had ignited a flicker of light in the woman's soul. "Remember," she said, "sometimes we are the light for each other." Their conversation lingered like the fragrance of blooming flowers. Other people passed by, some stopping to listen, their faces reflecting curiosity and intrigue. Each smile shared, each nod exchanged, thickened the bond of faith in that little sacred space. "Let us keep giving them out," Lily urged, bursting with excitement. "There are so many more out there who need them." "True, my love," John replied, pride coloring his voice. "Let us make this day count." As they prepared to part ways with the elderly woman, she turned back, her expression transformed. "You've given me hope today, dear ones. I will treasure this moment." "May your path be filled with light," Martha called back, heart dancing with joy. They resumed their walk through the community, with purpose and intent glimmering in their hearts. Yet, as they distributed more notes, the word of their mission began to spread. People began to approach them, eager to learn what this act of kindness was all about. Suddenly, in the midst of all this, Martha spotted a boy sitting alone on a bench, his downcast eyes avoiding the sun's rays. Everything in her urged her to reach out. But in that moment, Martha hesitated. This boy seemed to be carrying a different kind of burden. Would he receive their love? Would he allow them to share hope? "Guys," she whispered to her family, "what if we reach out to him? He might feel all alone." They nodded, sensing the gravity of their mission. As Martha led them towards him, her heart beat wildly, resonating with both fear and faith. Was this boy another divine connection waiting to unfold? And as they approached, the boy looked up, his eyes meeting Martha's. What would be revealed in that moment? The air thrummed with expectancy, and the future unfurled before them, a path steeped in uncertainty and grace. The boy's eyes were pools of sorrow, deep and longing, and Martha felt the full weight of his gaze as it locked onto hers, a plea without words, a quiet desperation. She knelt down beside him, her heart aching to reach out. "Hi there," she said softly, her voice almost a whisper against the backdrop of bustling passers-by. "We're sharing notes of hope today. Would you like to have one?" For a moment, the boy simply stared at her, uncertainty flickering in his expression. Then, as if a light shifted inside him, he nodded slowly, his guarded demeanor softening just enough. Martha's heart glowed with warmth as she extended one of their notes to him. "It says, 'You're loved. Always remember, you are never alone.'" He took the note in his small, trembling hands, and Martha noticed the way his fingers clung to the paper, as if it were a lifeline. The boy's lips quivered briefly before he looked back up at her, surprise mingling with gratitude in his eyes. "It's just I," he stammered, then fell silent, the weight of his emotions settling heavily around them. John, sensing the moment's significance, stepped closer. "Sometimes we feel lost or forgotten," he said, his tone steady and inviting. "But kindness can light a path. We're here to help you find yours." There was a flicker of hope that danced across the boy's face. I feel like no one sees me," he admitted, his voice barely audible. "I thought I would be invisible forever." The family exchanged glances, and Martha could see the understanding in Emily's eyes. "We all have days when we feel invisible. It's part of being human," she said, her innocence radiating compassion. "But your heart matters, and so does your story." The boy looked down at the note again, his expression softening. "I've had a lot of hard days. I thought maybe no one cared today." "We care," Martha affirmed, kneeling even closer, wanting him to know she meant every word. "And we believe in you, that you can rise above the darkness." A wavering smile broke through the boy's somber exterior. It was hesitant but real. "Thank you," he murmured, looking deep into her eyes, a connection shifting something within him. Just then, a breeze swept through the park, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers. It felt as if the very air filled with a sacred energy, wrapping around them like a gentle embrace. In that moment, Martha realized they weren't just giving notes, God was weaving their hearts together. Can I ask you something? The boy ventured, glancing at the family. What if someone takes the note, and doesn't he believe it? What if it's just words? That's the beauty of hope, John interjected with a gentle smile. Words can begin to heal when they are spoken with love. Even if someone doubts, a seed has been planted. You have the power to water it with your kindness and faith. Martha nodded, akin to nurturing a tender shoot. Hope doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be shared. Just like we're doing right now. As the boy's gaze fixed on the note cradled in his hands, something shifted. A fragile, yet striking light ignited in his expression. Maybe, he whispered, taking a deep breath. Maybe I can believe. Just then, a ripple of laughter fluttered through the air as a young girl approached, noticing the gathering and wanting to join in. Something about her radiated joy. She was the sunshine bursting forth through clouds. Martha couldn't help but wonder how many hearts were waiting for their moment of connection, how many more souls yearned for love in its truest form. Let us share with her too, Emily exclaimed, beckoning to her. And in that moment, a divine mystery ignited. A chapter was just beginning. How many lives could be transformed today? And would this boy take the first step down that brave, new path of light? As they turned to welcome the girl, laughter mingling with hope, Martha felt the spirit alive around them, a powerful presence urging them forward. What connections awaited them next, and how might they bring forth even more miracles? The girl bounced into their circle, her laughter bright and unguarded. She wore a simple dress adorned with flowers, but her spirit sparkled like the sunlight breaking through the clouds. Martha noticed how her eyes lit up at the sight of the boy and the note, as though recognizing a kindred soul in need of connection. What is going on here? The girl tilted her head, her curiosity wide-eyed and innocent. Martha smiled, feeling the warmth of joy radiating from the girl's presence. We're sharing notes of hope. Would you like to join in? The girl nodded eagerly, her excitement palpable. Yes, I love hope. As Martha handed her a note, the boy's gaze flickered toward her, a hint of something new. Inspiration? Encouragement? It seemed the girl's energy began to weave through him, unraveling his guarded heart. What does yours say? The girl asked, her voice bright like morning sun. It says, the boy began tentatively, you are loved. Always remember, you are never alone. The girl's face lit up. That's beautiful. Mine says, every day is a new chance to shine. Martha watched as they exchanged their notes. There was something sacred in the simplicity of their sharing, an unspoken understanding passing between them, like a whisper of the divine. Can I keep this? The boy asked, eyes wide with hope. Of course. The girl nodded, her enthusiasm infectious. We can start a treasure box of hope. We'll fill it with all the notes we share. A flicker of hope ignited within the boy. And I can write my own notes, too. Maybe I can make others feel seen. Martha's heart swelled at the transformative power of connection. Here they were, a band of little souls, learning to illuminate each other's paths. She realized it wasn't just about the notes. It was the love wrapped within each word, a spiritual bond crafting an invisible thread connecting their hearts. Do you feel that? John said softly, kneeling beside Martha. It's like the Holy Spirit is moving among us. Yes, Martha breathed, glancing around, feeling the thread of the divine weaving tightly among them. These moments are precious, aren't they? The boy, empowering from his small act of bravery, stood a bit taller, the shadows of his sadness lifting slightly. Can we share with even more people? He implored, eyes shining with anticipation. Absolutely. Emily clapped her hands in delight. The more the merrier. Together, they formed a tiny brigade of hope, moving through the park and seeking souls to uplift. Each note they shared became a reminder of love, a beacon for those who might feel alone. They came across a man sitting on a bench, his head hung low. Without hesitation, the children approached him. Excuse me, sir. The girl called out, her voice bright and clear. We're sharing notes of hope today. Would you like one? The man looked up, surprised. His eyes were weary, yet there was a flicker of curiosity there. Hope, he repeated, as if the word was foreign to him.
Yes.
The boy chimed in, stepping forward with newfound courage. It says you're loved. You're never alone. A silence fell over the moment as the man took the note. In his hands, it trembled slightly, as if awakening something long dormant. Something inside him shifted, and he blinked back, tears, disbelief and wonder both etched across his face. Thank you, he whispered, a crack in his voice revealing layers of unspoken burdens. I didn't think anyone noticed me today. John and Martha exchanged glances. They saw the spark in the boy's eyes grow brighter, igniting a flame of purpose.
See?
Martha said softly, confidence shaping her words. Your kindness is more powerful than you know. Hope spreads when we share it. As they carried on, laughter resonated in the crisp air, and a new fire kindled among them. What if today is just the beginning? Emily wondered aloud. Martha felt the weight of her own pondering. Their journey was rolling forward, embracing the wisdom offered by each encounter. But before they could reflect, another figure came into view. A woman wandered around, her expression lost and weary. Would their light reach her? Would she, too, feel the gift of hope being given freely? What might unfold in this next encounter as they shared love once more? Would she grasp the promise that every soul carries, even if cloaked in shadows? The answer lingered in the air, a divine invitation waiting to be extended. The woman moved slowly, her steps hesitant, like she was caught in a dream she couldn't wake from. Her clothes were simple, but they seemed to hang on her frame as if burdened by unshed tears and forgotten dreams. Surrounding her was an aura of solitude, yet the children could feel the flicker of possibility beneath the surface. Excuse me, the girl said, taking a step forward, her voice weaving through the stillness. Would you like a note of hope? The woman looked down, and for a moment, it seemed as if she didn't hear them. But then she raised her head, revealing tired eyes that held stories of sorrow and longing. Hope? She repeated, her brow furrowing in confusion, as if the word had become a distant echo. Yes, the boy said, bouncing slightly on his toes, his heart full of enthusiasm. It says you're loved. You're never alone. It can be for you. For a heartbeat, time froze. The woman's gaze softened, and for the first time, she seemed to notice the children standing before her, their hands outstretched, brimming with kindness. As she took the note, her fingers trembled. Thank you, she whispered, and those two little words carried a weight that filled the air with divine presence. In that moment, realization washed over Martha. This was no ordinary interaction. It was an invitation for healing, God's love spilling out through the innocent hearts of children. Can we share more? Emily asked, eyes shimmering with excitement. We have so many more notes. Yes. The boy chimed in again, nodding vigorously. We can write more for you, and for everyone who needs to know they matter. The woman's expression shifted ever so slightly as something shifted deep within her heart, a crack in the stone walls she had built around herself. I don't know if I deserve hope, she murmured, almost to herself. Martha stepped closer, a gentle smile illuminating her face. Hope is a gift that belongs to everyone. You deserve it, even if you don't feel like it right now.
God sees you.
He knows your pain. Tears brimmed in the woman's eyes as she breathed in Martha's words. The depth of compassion in her voice cut through the darkness and began to weave light into the fraying edges of her heart. Slowly, as the children began to share more notes with words crafted from love and understanding, the woman listened. Each phrase resonated deep within her, igniting a flicker of faith she feared had long been extinguished. Today is a new day, the girl said, her spirit alight in the process of giving. We're here to celebrate hope together. Unbeknownst to them, an invisible web of connection was forming, knitting together their hearts into something far greater. As the woman read each note, it was as if she were unwrapping layers of despair to reveal light buried beneath. Will I really never be alone? She finally asked, her voice filled with longing. Absolutely, replied the boy, a small grin spreading across his face. Our hearts are all tied together now.
Look,
He pointed to the radiant sky above, where strands of golden sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the park in a warm embrace. This is a reminder. Martha joined in, feeling the waves of the spirit touch them. Just like the sun shines for everyone, so does love. It's for you, and for all of us. The woman's shoulders eased as the weight of loneliness began to lift, replaced by a glimmer of hope and warmth. A deep breath escaped her lips. This was the promise she was being given. Before they left, she turned, a newfound strength glistening in her eyes. Thank you, all of you, she murmured. I almost forgot what it felt like to be seen. As the children moved on, joy and laughter trailed like a gentle breeze behind them, leaving an echo of grace in their wake. Where to next? Emily asked, eyes sparkling with possibility. Let us keep going, the boy suggested, enthusiasm overtaking him. There is so much more hope to share. But as they ventured deeper, Martha wondered in her heart, how many more souls would they touch today? What other lives could be transformed by the power of love wrapped in simple words? The divine invitation lingered, encouraging them to embrace the next encounter, awaiting them like a treasure just beyond the horizon. As they strolled along the winding path in the park, the sun continued its warm embrace, wrapping the world in a glow that felt almost heavenly. Laughter bubbled up like a brook as the children dotted the landscape with notes of encouragement, placing them gently upon benches and treetops, in mailboxes, and on the gates of gardens. Look at that! Emily exclaimed, pointing to a cluster of bees dancing among the blooming flowers. They remind me of us, buzzing around with love and joy. Martha smiled, her heart swelling with the same vibrancy that filled the air. Yes, they work together to create sweetness. Just like we do. They moved from flower to flower, spreading blessings with their notes, hoping to awaken the souls of those who felt as lost as the woman they had just met. Each note had a story, and each word carried a piece of their own joy. Just then, they paused at a small pond, its surface shimmering like diamonds. An old man sat on a nearby bench, staring into the water with a faraway look in his eyes. Martha felt a tug at her heart, a gentle whisper from the spirit urging her to approach him. Can we share some hope with you? She asked, her voice soft as petals. The man looked up, surprise flickering across his weathered face. Hope, he echoed, as though the word had not graced his ears in years. Yes, the boy interjected, stepping forward with a note in hand. It says you matter. Your story is still being written. The man's eyes moistened, and for a moment, he seemed to search for strength in the children's bright faces. It's been a long time since anyone has said that to me. His voice cracked, revealing the weight he bore. Martha knelt before him, her gaze steady. Your story matters too. God has a plan for everyone. The old man inhaled sharply, absorbing her words like a lifeline thrown to a sailor lost at sea. His hands trembled as he took the note, reverently holding it as if it were a treasure. Thank you, children, he said, the tremor in his voice now mingled with a new warmth. You've reminded me of something, a flicker of hope that I had long since buried. What followed was a cascade of stories, spilling forth like the gentle ripples across the pond. He shared tales of laughter, love lost, and dreams he had set aside. And with each word, the children's hearts expanded, woven tighter with compassion and understanding. They spent time with him, listening, sharing their own tales of innocence and joy, moments filled with a sense of divine presence surrounding them like a soft blanket. As they sat in the company of an unexpected friend, something began to change within the old man. The weight on his shoulders seemed to lighten, and laughter crept back into his eyes. I feel heard, he murmured, a smile breaking through his rough exterior, and for the first time in a long while, I feel valued. With a final wave, he promised he would hold on to the note. They all would. As the children skipped away, their spirits buoyant, Martha's heart swelled with gratitude. Suddenly, Emily pointed to the horizon, where the sun hung low painted in streaks of pink and orange. Tomorrow will bring more. More people to meet, more hope to share. Martha's heart danced at the thought, but a quiet question nestled deep within her being. How many lives could truly be transformed through their simple notes? Would it be just a flicker, or would it ignite a fire of change? As night descended like a gentle shroud, the stars blinked above, reminding them that the journey was still only beginning. Where might it lead? What waiting souls would they find, each with a story, each deserving of hope? And as the call to adventure echoed in their hearts, they knew tomorrow held even more divine encounters just waiting for their unassuming kindness. Dawn crept softly over the village, wrapping it in hues of hope. Martha stirred, her heart filled with reverence, as she realized today was not just another day. It was the culmination of their prayers, their faith, and their unwavering love. She felt an electric anticipation in the air, like the first breath of morning after a long, difficult night. Gathering her family in the chapel one last time felt sacred. Kneeling in unity, they created a circle of faith, and Martha sensed the warmth of their shared intentions surrounding them like a heavenly embrace. Today, she began, her voice steady with love, let us celebrate the blessings we have witnessed. The children's eyes sparkled with eagerness. Emily spoke first, her heart brimming with gratitude. I'm thankful for the way people have started smiling again, she exclaimed, recalling the joy echoing in the park. Lily nodded, adding, and for the connection we felt with everyone, even strangers. It's like they needed us to be here. Martha's heart swelled, knowing they were living the very essence of their prayers. Let's offer our prayer together, trusting the journey has brought us closer to the miracles we seek. The chapel filled with their voices, rising like incense to the heavens. Martha felt every word resonate, each echo bringing healing to her heart and lifting fears that had plagued her spirit. As they closed in prayer, a tide of peace washed over, soothing their doubts, nourishing their faith. Suddenly, the peaceful ambience changed. The chapel door creaked open, and Father Thomas entered, an aura of strength enveloping him. Martha, he said, his voice like honey, I was drawn here by the Spirit. Your family's journey resonates with divine power. Martha's heart raced. This moment felt significant, a divine affirmation that their collective prayers were not in vain. Father, we've felt his presence through our journey, she replied, tears glistening in her eyes. Joining hands, Father Thomas led them in prayer, a prayer that dripped with grace and conviction. May healing wash over David. May love surround Martha and her family. And may hope ignite in every heart touched by their light. As they prayed, a warmth enveloped them, bypassing understanding. It felt as if God himself was knitting their hearts with an unbreakable thread. After sending heartfelt blessings to David, they turned inward, sharing their burdens once more. This was the moment many had anticipated. Martha knew the time was ripe to release their deepest fears at the feet of the Savior. They laid their written hopes and doubts at the altar, a beautiful offering to God. With fresh conviction, they sang together, voices merging into a divine chorus. Every note resonated with faith, palpable in its beauty, wrapping the chapel in joy that felt too grand for words. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the world in a divine glow. Laughter spilled from the doors as the gathered community began to converge in the space, each person, like radiant blossoms, drawn by the petals of love radiating from the chapel. Martha watched in awe as neighbors marked their presence, a living testament to the family's unwavering faith. Today we all come together, she announced, heart racing. Let this be a day of miracles. People nodded, their expressions alive with possibility as smiles erupted around them. In that moment, Martha understood the heart of their prayers. It was never just about healing David or themselves. It was about igniting hope for everyone. As laughter spread like wildfire, a palpable energy danced through the air, a divine pulse connecting every soul present. A ripple of expectation began, and it was utterly breathtaking. Suddenly, There was a cry of joy. David stood at the entrance, feeble but determined, supported by his family. "I felt you all," he began, his voice soft yet resolute. "In every prayer, in every note shared, I felt love tapping at my heart." Gasps erupted, tears flowed freely in a tide of awe and emotion. David continued, "Your journey has turned me from darkness to light." Martha wept for joy, her heart ignited with a burst of that inexplicable peace she had sought. All around, hope blossomed like wildflowers in spring. People embraced one another, laughter mingled with tears of joy, moments of connection cascading through the crowd. "Together, we will be the bearers of hope," Emily shouted, lifting her arms toward the sky. The community erupted with chants of hope, a symphony of love echoing through the village. Each person realized they had been intertwined in this remarkable dance, part of something divine, a wave of transformation sweeping through. Martha caught Father Thomas' smile. Recognizing the sacred truth unfolding before her, they had turned their pain into purpose, their journey into testimony. As her heart swelled with gratitude, she understood now. Miracles come in many forms, and sometimes the greatest miracle is the light that emerges when hearts unite in love. And in that moment, surrounded by a family, a community, and the loving presence of God Himself, Martha knew their journey was just the beginning. This is where faith meets the extraordinary. This is where they find their purpose. Friends, as you reflect on this story, remember it's not just a narrative, it's a call to action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let the light of hope shine brighter. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about the ending your words matter. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation, because only true servants of God understand the importance of spreading love and kindness. Don't wait even one more second to extend hope. Act now and be part of this incredible journey of faith.